folks, we're here with Shawn at Ukulele Friend, and tell everyone the name of your collection now.
So the collection is called the Honokaupu Collection, and Honokaupu is the old place name for the district in which the ukulele was born, in the downtown Chinatown area. And so the collection, I decided to name it after the space by which these instruments were first created.
And last time we were here, we mainly spent our time looking at the smaller ukuleles, and today Shawn has pulled out the larger size. And the original Madeiran name for these instruments is a Rajao. They're about a tenor size ukulele now. They have a 17-inch scale length, and they generally have 5 strings, right? So we have lined up here about 7 instruments in that size and shape, and Shawn was going to quick say what each of them are, because they're all pretty cool.
Yes. As a matter of fact, wait, where is it? Let me just grab one more.
Oh, one more while we're at it. Why not?
Because I think this one will also add more context to what we're going to discuss here. This is a Madeiran.
Oh yeah, your Madeiran Rajao.
Yeah,
right,
Madeiran Rajao, made by Henrique George, or Carlos George's son, proficient luthiers over on Madeira. This one just came over to me recently, and we'll be using this for educational purposes as well. But we'll place this instrument here too. But I will go over each of these pieces. Actually, yeah. Well, we'll put this guy. Well, put it here for now. So let's start here on the far left. This is a Jose do Espírito Santo, and you can see this is a koa back and sides instrument, where you can see the 2-piece neck here, Spanish construction with the heel right over. Pretty plain koa on this one. There's a nice arch on the back that we've been having some pretty cool discussions on as a matter of a construction technique and approach. This is a fir top, pretty sure.
Yeah, and that's what we've been noticing on the really early ones, is they often have a fir top. Yeah,
a fir top on that.
Oh, and we think this would have been 1885?
About 1890.
Oh, 1890,
yeah.
Okay, yep.
And then this one is also a Santa ukulele, roughly from the same time period. It would have been making some maybe with a softwood top, but generally speaking, both of these do not have a fingerboard, so a little bit later. They're not as early as some that do have that fingerboard down there, but they still retain the bridge pins.
Yeah.
And so that's an indicator of an earlier piece. So this one's about 1890 as well, circa, right? Yeah. Roughly, it's about, this is an all koa instrument, and you can see the neck is koa as well as the top, back, and sides.
But he's got the rope or the herringbone inlaid down the middle and around the body. He's got some curly wood, and he also bound the bridge. So you could imagine that this is his budget model, and this is his fancier model. Somebody was willing to pay a little bit more money for the second one.
Yeah, certainly for that. This third one here is a Manuel Nunes. A little bit later, this was likely made between 1895 and 1898-ish. It's probably somewhere right around there. You can tell it has a much deeper body, a larger size, and it's a very kind of, it's just a beautiful design on this as well. If it looks familiar to you, Manuel Nunes was working with the Martin Company at a later time, so you may recognize this shape to be something similar to a Martin. And it's not that Manuel was copying from a Martin. They were likely collaborating, or at least Martin had seen some of the work that Manuel Nunes had created. And so there's an interesting historical connection there as well, but also has the rope work down the center of the neck, very doubled, rosette pattern here, a really large cloud inlay. He's known for having these cloud inlays as well.
Which is where Martin might have copied for the Style 3 instrument that they make. It kind of has a little mustache or a cloud down there too. And this is our unknown maker, correct?
Yes, this is an unknown maker, early 20th century. It retains this kind of bridge attachments. It looks almost like a paintbrush, but functionally it's interesting because maybe because of the 5 strings, maybe it's alleviating some of the string tension for that the length of the scale, but also the additional string. and anchoring that to the base of the instrument here at the end block.
Yeah.
And there's a little finishing nail that goes in through this, seemingly into the...
And we just recently on Facebook were talking with the Madeiran guys about another instrument that had the little paintbrush thing, and we were kind of asking about that, and he was like, yeah, that's just a way some people do it. You know, he didn't have a lot to say about it, except, yeah, sometimes they do that.
Yes.
Really interesting.
This next piece is pretty interesting. We're moving up in the timeline. This is probably around 1909 or 10, probably around 1910. And this is a Manuel Nunez, Rajao. But what's unique about this, it's all koa, but it has a shorter scale. If you notice, this is a concert scaled Rajao. And so early on, each of these makers, as was the tradition as well, were making instruments of all sizes. And they were marketed as instruments of all sizes, guitar makers of instruments of all sizes. And so this is a rare example of a Rajao that is a shorter scale length, a concert scale length. And this one also is Manuel Nunez. And this one is a Taropatch. And so you'll see the 8 strings there, beautiful koa. But note, this is from 1910 as well, but it's a little bit of a throwback to his earlier work because it retains the fingerboard, the bridge pins, has a unique, its own headstock.
Yeah, unique headstock,
design as well.
And very curly koa.
And very curly, just beautiful piece.
So, and Shawn calls this 8-string a Taropatch. Martin called their 8-string of this size and shape a Taropatch. In the old literature, they called all of these big ones sometimes Taropatch Fiddles.
Yes.
So it's a little confusing, but basically we have all the big ones out. All these are bigger than a soprano, which is why they're all here. Yeah.
And then, Aaron, you want to share on this one here?
Yeah, so this is the one I made, the Rajao I made in their style, basically. So I used Douglas fir for the top and koa for everything else. And I did the rope binding and the bridge pins and the koa. And so I did my best to make an instrument in there, using their vocabulary, so to speak. But the size and the shape of mine is not based off of the Nunez and Santo ones. My shape is a little more based off the Diage instrument that's in the Bishop Museum, which is the only one, that's the only one of his that we have. That's that one.
Rajao that we are aware of, that's made by Diage.
Yeah, and the fur, of course, is from Oregon where I live, and so I use the fur for the neck and then koa for everything else. And this koa is from Bart Potter, a sawmill guy here on Oahu.
And this one here, made by Henrique George. It's just a beautiful example of the woodworking traditions of Madeira. He and his father are amongst the most highly regarded luthiers on Madeira Island. But you can see the detail of the work here, with each of these pieces being hand cut out. You can see that he has just a beautiful design on the bridge. This is actually fashioned after one of the most prolific builders from Madeira called Octaviano Nunez.
Right.
And so this design and so forth was inspired by Octaviano's build. But a few things to take notice of on this particular instrument has been, this is pretty common style of design, a point of nautical reflection, I guess.
Like a compass rose.
A compass rose, exactly. And then you can see on this one, because he's not using traditional woods, Madeiran woods on this. This is a maple, and this is a walnut back and sides on this particular piece with a spruce top. But if you look, and this is a good example to show, you can see that there's a fingerboard on here. Right into the neck. There's a fingerboard, but it's flush here.
And we see that on historical European guitars.
Yes.
So we see that on Italian, French, and Spanish instruments of the 17th century, 18th century, that is a feature that they had. So pretty cool. It really beautiful. Shows that this is a bit of European tradition woodworking, right? Which is the tradition that comes to Hawaii with these guys, and then it evolves into a Hawaiian thing over time. Really a cool pile of instruments that we have here today. We've just been sitting here just soaking it all in to have all these in one group.
Yeah.
And I'm working really hard not to step on anything.
Don't step on anything, please.
If I have to fall, I'll fall on the one I made. Right? Okay,
Oh,
well,
please.
Shawn, thanks for telling us a little bit more about these, and we'll link to all your stuff, of course.
Yeah, more
so
to come,
folks-
more
yeah.
to come. A lot of fun, educational things, hanging out with Aaron, just having a good time, trying to think about what life was like and what was happening at the time and what the tools were like, what materials were available. And so keep following Aaron and follow me, and we hope to be doing more educational things for you all.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Shawn.